right, course workouts here. Power slap number 10. The headliner, Damien The Bell, going up against Dorian Perez. My man, how great is it to get back up there on stage this time, not coaching, but in the main event, putting your title on the line?
Honestly, it's just really exciting, getting another chance after, being off since April. It's been a couple months. You get antsy coaching, so I'm just excited to be able to perform once again.
Awesome. And Dorian Perez is the competitor. Were you surprised that that's who they offered you for a title match?
Nah, I've been thinking he was going to get a title shot eventually, but just with the DQ against Ellis, I wasn't sure when that was going to happen, and they just decided to give him to me. So, I'm just excited to get a match.
Absolutely, man. Every time you get up there, you've proven that there's levels to this. You keep on dominating your opponents as you go along. Talk to me about Dorian and what do you think he brings, to this matchup?
I think he brings a really strong chin. The man knows how to take a hit, never been knocked down. But, I've knocked down everybody I face. So it's really one of us is going to lose that streak.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, dude. I mean, you have one of the most devastating strikes in the entire organization. I don't know, like, do you still look at it as there's a way for you to improve, or, do you just keep on doing what you're doing because it's working for you?
I mean, there's certain elements that it's like it's been working for this long. Just keep working hard at what you're already doing. But I like to expand in this sport, learn new things. Especially with a ton of new people coming in, there's going to be new ideas of how to train, what's the best ways for training, and like techniques that you could use in striking and defense. So I'm really glad that it's expanding the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, dude, even like from when you got into this, and I mean, some of the videos you even have of yourself from, a year or two ago up on YouTube, kind of showing very basic level training. Talk to me about how that training has evolved, into what you're doing now.
I mean, when I first started training, I was literally just a guy off the street, just trying to figure it out for myself. So it's really been gotten more technical with what I'm doing. I really know what I'm supposed to be focusing on. I have my main workouts that I do to really try to build that power as much as I can before a match.
Awesome, man. I mean, you've been able to, obviously put out, highlight reel knockouts, but the defensive side for you is also strong. Talk to me about, kind of that makeup. Because, I mean, this one is seemingly going to be a war. Obviously, we know Dorian is a warrior. He's gone very, very deep into a lot of matches. This one with championship rounds. Talk to me about the defensive side and kind of how you're preparing to face someone like Dorian.
I mean, I've just been preparing the same way I have for defense because I've just I've just always been good at defense. I've never had an issue with my defense, so I'm just keeping on doing what I've been doing for that. Like I feel like I don't get enough respect for my part on defense too because I can also say I've never been knocked down by
Mhm.
anybody in any of my matches. Like I got hit in the eye with my Ryan match and I dusted it off. Like no one talks about that part, but
Mhm.
that's whatever.
I hear you. I mean, being a coach, obviously Power Slap wants to keep you in the limelight, trying to get you out there, continue to build your brand. You were able to go, on Yaz Island to the local mall as part of a public appearance for Power Slap with Paige Van Zant. Have you learned, more about the sport by taking on that coach's role and kind of being that figure?
I definitely think so because with every new fighter that you meet, you get a new opinion and different circumstances for what's going on in the sport. So it really helped me appreciate and learn as a fighter myself.
Absolutely. I know early on you were, still pursuing a career in law. Dana brought it up as well about buying your Mustang. We've talked about it here, kind of decking that out. Where are you kind of at in that career path, that journey? Because I remember speaking to you very early on and you were kind of saying like, once law school is paid, I'm out, so I'm done. We've spoken to you after, you seem, I mean, you're still so young, but you seem like your career is extending a little bit. Do you kind of feel like you still have a lot to give, a lot in the tank, for yourself overall as an athlete? And are you seeing yourself do this for quite a long time?
Honestly, I've kind of fell in love with fighting. It's super fun, getting to meet all these people, going all these places.
Mhm.
It's exciting. So I'll definitely push it off a bit, but I've actually planned to get back on track with that, take my LSATs, this coming spring, fall area, see what schools I could get into. But really, it's still the financing aspect that worries me because,
Mhm.
Parasat pays great, but I haven't fought since April. It's been a minute. So
Mhm.
it's nice to get back into it, keep earning and building to that goal eventually.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen now, 3 events in quick succession. We have obviously Abu Dhabi, we've got, Las Vegas, the event that you're headlining, and then we're coming back January 30th in Saudi Arabia. Events are going to be rolling out here. Even an interview that Slap News did with Dana White, he confirmed a minimum of 7 events, if not more, in 2025. Like, what is the perfect ratio for you in terms of fighting? Is it is it every 2 months? Is it every 4 months? I know you said from April to now is too long. Like, what's that perfect mix?
I mean, it really sometimes it will depend on the fight. Like if you have a really hard fight, you want to extend that out a little bit. But at this point, I feel like 3 fights a minimum a year would be perfect for me. I'd honestly be willing to do more than that. I
Mhm,
definitely feel like I'd be capable, but
mhm.
after really depends on the match too and how you're feeling at that point. But personally, I'd be willing to take a lot more fights.
Awesome, man. So 3 matches, does that kind of put you financially where you want to be?
Oh yeah, 3 matches, I'll be perfectly fine.
Awesome, man. I know that the crazy Hawaiian got dogged a little bit for coming in on the scale at 420. He went on record and said he's going to come down to heavyweight to face you. Would you welcome that match in the future?
I mean, I definitely welcome that match, but I prefer to take it to super heavyweight. Honestly, I feel like I could do that too a lot quicker than him coming down to heavyweight.
Yeah. Is that something that you actually actively think about? I mean, if you take out Dorian Perez, I mean, once again, I think, it's kind of in a position where there may not be someone at the top that you haven't already taken care of. Would that be the next logical step for you? You think move up to super heavy and potentially challenge for that championship up there?
Honestly, if they want me to move up or down, I'd be willing to do either at this point. I just feel like after Dorian, it'd be at least a couple events until they really decide on contender, unless
Hmm.
they want to, rush a couple guys through.
Hmm.
Like they got Pono that's rising in the ranks. James got his win against Nate, so there's definitely talent there, but it's going to be a couple events. And I feel
Hmm.
like after Dorian, I'm ready to prove that I could take another belt.
Yeah, I mean, I know you didn't coach James Siekmann, but talk to me about seeing him in person. Obviously, he was victorious over Nate Bernard. Do you think a guy like James is next in line for a title shot? And do you think he's ready, or do you think he needs a couple more matches?
Honestly, if he wanted a title fight, and he knows it, if he wanted a title fight, he should have knocked Nate out because that's in my opinion, what the brass was looking for him to do in order to get that title match.
Hmm.
Because I knocked Nate out, Ryan knocked Nate out, and I feel like Nate was setting that bar of if you want a title match, you have to get through him.
Hmm.
So even though he got the win, he didn't. I don't think he did enough. So he's definitely going to take a little bit longer to get to there.
I hear you. I mean, in the post-fight interview, James talked about the box being shorter. Is that something that you noticed?
I really didn't notice the box being any shorter. We spoke to a couple people. No one's confirmed that the box got any shorter, so I
Hmm.
don't really understand where he's coming from there. I just really don't.
Gotcha. I mean, guys with long arms like yourself, obviously that would impact if it was the case. And so just curious if you notice anything from your perspective. But back on your match, December 6th, Power Slap number 10. We've got 2 other titles on the line. Anthony Blackburn versus Emmanuel Muniz 2. Any thoughts or predictions on that match?
Honestly, I feel like that's one of those matches that you don't want to bet on because that could go either way. Like I feel like that's a really close match still. It really just depends who's worked harder in these past couple months.
Mhm. Wolverine, who you know obviously from the days back in Slap Fight Championship. You also coached with him on Road to the Title Season 1. You've seen him, in Power Slap, both in light heavyweight and heavy. Our first 2 weight class champion, and going up against Vernon Cathy. What do you think about that one?
I mean, Ron's my boy, really good friends with him at this point, but I feel like Vern has that match unless Ron changes something up because his defense isn't what it used to be. And I feel like he hasn't been really doing enough damage against guys like Turp. And Vern's progressed so much in this. Like his defense has become, it went from a questionable thing to like one of the best guys in like heavyweight right now. So I feel like Vern right now is the best bet.
Interesting. Like, do you think Ron's almost too clean of a fighter for where the rule set's at with Power Slap right now?
I don't feel like he's too clean. I just feel like he plays it too safe. Like I feel like he just really wants to make sure that he's not crossing that line.
I hear you, my man. My favorite thing to do on these interviews, put you front and center. Dorian Perez is watching this interview. What do you want to say to him?
Man, I hope you're training real hard, fixing up your techniques, because that DQ, let's not have that happen during our match. Keep it clean and, just prepare for a war because I'm going for that first round knockout. Like, I hope you know that. Like, that's all I'm training to do right now.
Awesome, my man. Appreciate you joining me. Look forward to the lead into this match. Look forward to being there in Las Vegas with you. I know you're going to bring your absolute best to the fight and see you defend it, my man. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. You have a good one, man.